for the Denver Broncos. And the defense that he is facing, the Detroit Lions, have had some problems, as we mentioned, over the last couple of weeks. The front, Keith Ferguson, Jerry Ball, and William Gay, longtime veteran. Gay and defensive captain. Jimmy Williams, Shelton Robinson, Dennis Gibson, and Vernon Maxwell, the linebackers. The secondary suspect, Galloway, McNorton on the corners. They will pick on them. Sammy Winder, Gene Lang, the setbacks for Denver. First down. Elway to throw. Does. Has a completion. And it'll be close to a Denver first down. Mark Jackson is the man that made the catch. Dwayne Galloway made the tackle. The offensive situation for the Denver Broncos, Elway at quarterback, Winder and Lang are the backs. Johnson and Jackson, the wideouts. And this is a banged-up team. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Studdard, Bishop, Lee, Ayers, Lanier, and Kay. Lee and Ayers, the new people on the line. Bishop, of course, the long-standing Pro Bowl offensive talent there. Gene Lang and Winder, again, the setbacks. And now they go to the I formation. First down, Denver. Gain of about 2 is Winder. He was hit by Jerry Ball, who was 283 pounds, out of SMU.
And Jerry Ball is like one of those destruction balls. He's 6 foot, about 290. He covers a lot of territory, and I think he's really helped solidify the inside area of the Detroit Lion defense.
It'll be second down for the Broncos. Jackson and Johnson, twin receivers. Elway with plenty of time drills it across the middle, and it is another first down for the Broncos. It was to Clarence Kay, big number 88, 237-pounder out of Georgia. Dwayne Galloway again makes the tackle.
Is an end zone replay. We see Kay, the tight end on the right side, make an inside release. He gets a bump from the linebacker and goes outside of the bump, and the ball is right there, right on the money between the two linebackers. Perfectly thrown, and the great success of the play was contingent on the fact that Elway has such great anticipation.
12-yard pickup, Hank, so it'll be another first down for the Broncos. And they look in sync early. Clarence Kay, Orson Mobley, two tight ends. Elway to throw again on first down, across the middle, wide open. Mark Jackson makes the catch inside Detroit territory. They'll mark it at the 33. Bruce McNorton made the hit.
This is a play-action fake, and watch the defense freeze up front. They got a lot of stunts going on, and as a result, there's a lot of time. Jackson runs a pattern inside against the zone. The ball is right on the money, and a big gain and a first down for the Denver Broncos.
23-yard pickup for Denver. Steve Sewell now goes to the wide receiving position. Elway to throw, right side, almost intercepted. It was intended for Mark Jackson, but Dwayne Galloway read it all the way, came up and knocked it away.
Great anticipation on the part of Galloway. Normally, he's the guy they like to pick on, but he saw what was coming, read the pattern beautifully, and almost came up with a big interception. I tell you, the Denver Broncos, they create so many problems for you offensively. They use every formation in the book, every play in the book, and you have to read extremely well to keep track of what's going on.
It'll be second and 10. Winder and Lang are the backs. Kay in motion. Elway with pressure on the outside, throws high, incomplete. Bruce McNorton was covering Vance Johnson out there. Again, there was good coverage. Elway had backside pressure, Hank, and he had to throw it high.
Well, William Gay that time, 79, the defensive right end, got good penetration that time. Made Elway step up into the pocket a little bit, but he threw the ball really when he wasn't exactly set to throw the ball, and as a result, it went sailing over the top.
John Elway came into this game ranked 8th among AFC passers with 83%. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions today. He's 3 of 5 for 47 yards. The Lions now go to 6 defensive backs. Shotgun formation on 3rd and 10 for the Broncos. Flags fly. Elway carries out the play, throws it, and it's complete. Vance Johnson makes the catch inside the 15. They'll mark it around the 10. Rafael Cherry, the safety, made the tackle. We'll wait to see what the flag is, Hank.
We talk about a great gun. He gets the ball from the shotgun. There again, pass protection is good. Steps up into the pocket. Look at deliver the ball right on the money to Vance Johnson underneath the zone. First down for the Denver Broncos. But the key again was the fact that there was really no rush, no dramatic rush on the quarterback, John Elway.
We want to welcome those of you who have been watching the Washington win over Buffalo 27-7. We're at Mile High Stadium, where Denver on its first possession, 4 first downs, and now threatening. Sammy Winder bangs his way inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line between Keith Ferguson. Makes the tackle for Detroit. Tim Brandt and Hank Stram at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado, where Dan Reeves tells us he's trying to get his club untracked. He said this is like a 4th exhibition game for his team after the strike. They aren't in sync yet. And for Detroit, a story of woes, 1-5 on this early season. And Darryl Rogers, you have heard in somewhat of a tough situation with the owner, William Clay Ford, being very outspoken about his displeasure with that record and with his coach. 2nd and 6 inside field again as Winder bangs his way down to the 2-yard line. The hole opened up quickly. Dennis Gibson came out of his linebacker position to make the tackle. Look at this, Hank. 17 scores inside the 20-yard line in 22 possessions for the Denver Broncos.
That's strong, but really and truly, I think if he asked Dan Reeves about that, he would be disappointed, because it should be more like 20.
Keep in mind, this is a rebuilt offensive line with Billy Bryan out. Larry Lee steps in. He came in a trade with Miami. 3rd and 1 inside, and it is a touchdown, Denver. Gene Lang, touchdown for the Broncos. It was John Elway that took it inside. The setbacks were Winder and Lang. The signal now is official. Touchdown, Denver.
Watch the ground level replay. Watch the offensive line come off the ball. And look at Larry Lee, the center, who is not supposed to be extremely good against the run or with the run. Got off a good block that time, and they go in for the touchdown. They lead 6-0.
Rich Carlos comes on for the extra point. He came into this game ranked 4th in the AFC in scoring with 30 points. Straight ahead, and the Broncos have made the first series look easy. John Elway with the touchdown, Hank. Carlos with the extra point. And that was a very methodical, very effective drive.
Here's another shot of the replay. They're in a gap defense. Look at the center come off the ball. Lee gets a good push, and John Elway, as big and strong as he is, goes right in for the touchdown. They penetrate the goal line. Touchdown, Denver Broncos.
10 plays, 80 yards. It took 4 minutes and 58 seconds.
Dan Reeves might have said that he was a little disappointed in the lack of timing on the part of the offense in his team, but I guarantee he cannot be disappointed in the timing and execution between Elway and the passing.
John Elway has led the AFC quarterbacks in rushing 3 straight years, and the pressure on that man, Darryl Rogers. Rogers in his 3rd year as head coach of the Lions, a record of 13-25. Spent 20 years coaching in the collegiate ranks and was very successful there.
Well, he knows what it takes to win, and I'm sure if he has time enough and gets the players he needs, he'll win in Detroit.
Butch Wolford takes it inside the 5, gets it back to the 12, and there are the special teams that Dan Reeves was talking about and chided this week, and they have responded quickly. Bruce Plummer makes the tackle. So Chuck Long will come on now as quarterback of the Detroit Lions, and he had a strong second half last week. He'll be facing this defensive line: Andre Townsend, Greg Cragen, and Rulon Jones. Simon Fletcher, Carl Mecklenburg, Ricky Hunley, and Jim Ryan. And the secondary: Haynes, Harden, Lilly, and Dennis Smith, the strong safety. James and Jones, the setbacks for Detroit. Strong running by Gary James, and he takes it across the 15 to the 17-yard line before Jim Ryan makes the tackle there. Take a look at that offensive talent for the Lions. Chuck Long, as we mentioned, big week against the Packers last week in the loss. Gary James and James Jones, the setbacks. Pete Manley and Jeff Chadwick, the wideouts. The offensive line, Lomas Brown, Scott Barrows, Steve Mott, Kevin Glover out of the University of Maryland, Harvey Salem, and Jimmy Giles, the tight end. And they say Giles is back in shape and playing very well now.
And he's one of the better tight ends in the National Football League. No question about that.
2nd and 4 from the 18. Chuck Long with time, left to throw. Now dumps it across the middle, and it's incomplete, intended for James Jones. He had plenty of time, Hank.
He really did. But they had him covered well. He had escaped from the pocket, had to throw the ball on the move, threw it a little bit high, and it goes incomplete.
Hank, watch Rulon Jones and Carl Mecklenburg here.
Now there are two guys that they really have to block. Make sure they block on every play. They don't block those two people, they're going to be in trouble. Not to mention Hundley, number 98, the middle linebacker. Is he a snootful?
It is 3rd and 4 for Detroit. 6 defensive backs now for the Broncos. Long again to James Jones rather, and it's incomplete. Mike Harden was the man out there covering. It looked like James Jones, Hank, got into the flats cleanly, but then the ball was high. Well, you can see it has not been a pretty sight for punters in Detroit. Parade of punters. Erxleben got the job out of camp. Eddie Murray came in. Jim Arnold, who was cut in camp, is now back. Mike Black, Matt Kinzer, and John Misko.
Almost as many punters as we had at Purdue when I was there, because there, all the alumni did the punting. They did the kicking.
Ricky Nattiel is deep for Denver. He stands on his own 40-yard line. It is a low, wobbly kick taken by Nattiel at the 44. He runs laterally and does not pick up any ground. Rob Rubik, the tight end, number 84, made the tackle.
As good as specialty teams are around the National Football League, you better take it, make a decision, and get up the field as soon as you possibly can. Running east and west is not the way to go.
A 39-yard punt. The thing about the Denver offense is we watch John Elway come on. Look at this. You can expect the unexpected, Hank.
Yeah, he does it all, and you never know when it's coming. That's the great thing about it is. And the great thing about it, too, I think, Timmy, is the fact that he personally calls the plays from the sideline, and I think that's great.
Flea flickers, halfback option passes. Flags fly. Sammy Winder and Steve Sewell with the setbacks, but it looked like the Lions jumped that time.
Encroachment prior to the snap. Number 93 defense, go first down.
That's Jerry Ball, the nose tackle. Got anxious up there. Dan Reeves, in his 7th year as head coach of the Broncos, also the vice president of the team. His teams have won 63% of their games, Hank. So he's 6th in the NFL from 1981 to 1987.
He's a great young coach. In fact, I liked him so much when he was in Dallas, I tried to hire him when I was at Kansas City.
Jackson and Johnson, the wideouts. Steve Sewell in the ball game now. The lone setback, Sammy Winder. 1st and 5. This is Winder. Big hole. First down, or close to it, depending on the mark.
You know, when you play against the Denver Broncos, you have to worry so much about Elway. Here's a replay on the draw play. They run a trap. Look at Bishop, Keith Bishop going through the hole. He gets a block, but Winder cuts back behind the would-be block and makes some yardage on the play.
It'll be 2nd and 1 from the 48.
As deep as those linebackers are, we might see something right over the guards or even another quarterback sneak. That play-action fake. No rush at all.
Elway has a man wide open and finally knocked away. It was intended for Mark Jackson. Rafael Cherry had to come all the way over from his safety position and knock it away at the last second.
Rafael Cherry made a great play. Great play.
Hank Jackson came all the way across the field. He was wide out at the top right of the screen and dragged all the way across to the left side.
That tells you a little bit about how bad the pass rush was. There's no way in the world that you should permit a receiver to go from one hash mark all the way over to the other without getting some kind of pass rush, some kind of penetration on the quarterback.
It'll be 3rd and 1 from the 48. Denver 2 for 2 on 3rd down conversions today. Winder, big hole, 1st down, Denver. Sammy Winder, he's 133 yards today to go over the 4,000-yard mark for his career. Shelton Robinson made the tackle.
And Larry Lee, the center, number 68, got off the ball in good shape and got a good block on the nose man that permitted some running room for the ball carrier.
What are your impressions so far of Denver?
Well, they look like Denver looks always to me. They're always very explosive defensively. They don't self-destruct, right? They put a lot of points on the board.
On first down, it's Winder. Correction, Gene Lang. Lang out across the 40 inside to the 39-yard line. Offensive rankings, Washington at top. They've got another win today, but Denver right behind them. Second in total offense, 8th in the rush, 1st in the pass.
Year in and year out, Washington, the San Diego Chargers, the Denver Broncos, they're always right up there on top from an offensive standpoint.
I tell you what, Denver number 1 in the pass. You look at the Detroit Lions, they're 22nd in pass defense.
Look at all the room on the right side from a pass standpoint, one-on-one. Let's see if they do business there. Looks like he's changing the play.
2nd and 6.
There he goes.
Intended for Jackson. And Dwayne Galloway again was covering out on the corner. Talking about the defense of Detroit, ranked 22nd against the pass. Look at Detroit overall in defense. They are 22nd.
And that's the problem. You cannot win in the National Football League if you cannot stop people. It doesn't make any difference how many points you make offensively. Miami, I think, and San Diego in the past have been a great illustration of that. But they score a lot of points, but they don't stop people.
4 wideouts for the Broncos now. 6 defensive backs for Detroit. 3rd and 6 from the 40. Elway, pressure from the backside. Throws anyway. It's complete. Vance Johnson takes it down deep into Detroit territory. They'll mark it at the 28. Dwayne Galloway again makes the tackle on the deep outside corner.
Vance Johnson comes over from the left side to the right side, breaks underneath. They got 1-for-1 coverage on the defensive back, Bostic, coming across the middle. Galloway is trying to cover Johnson on the play, and finally makes the tackle.
Vance Johnson runs a 4.36 40, third-year pro out of Arizona. Came into this game with 12 catches for a team leading 178 yards, and Denver now has 7 first downs. Elway hands inside on first down. Winder with a big hole, gets outside, inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Sammy Winder is finally stopped by Bruce McNorton.
That was a counter play with the right guard, Ayers, and Lanier's the tackle pulling on the play. Look at the blocks they get downfield. A good block on number 34, Griffin, and he makes a great run, picks up the necessary yardage for the first down. Great blocking at the point of attack by the offensive linemen, especially Ayers and Lanier.
We talked about the offensive linemen and how it has been rebuilt. Larry Lee came in a trade with Miami. John Ayers starts at guard, picked off waivers from the 49ers. 1st and 10 from the 14 again. Sammy Winder, right side, not much there that time.
Timmy, coming into the game, Vance Johnson has only caught 12 passes. And talking to Dan Reeves on the field before the game, he said that normally we're involved with Vance Johnson on about 12 plays from our slot formation. This week we're going to increase it by about 6. He's going to be involved in about 18 because we're moving from the slot to the split inside. So we want to make sure we get him as many many passes as we possibly can.
Clarence Kay, Orson Mobley, the tight end. 2nd and 7 on the 11. Sammy Winder down to the 5, and we want to welcome those of you who have been watching the Tampa Bay-Green Bay game. Tampa Bay winning that one 23-17 here at Mile High Stadium. Tim Brandt and Hank Stram, and the Denver Broncos lead here 7-0 over the Detroit Lions, and they are driving again. 7 first downs.
Keith Bishop, the left guard. Boy, what a great block he got on Williams, the left linebacker. Jimmy Williams, 59, knocked him right to the turf. A beautiful block by Keith Bishop, who I think probably is one of the great pulling guards in the National Football League. I don't know who does it better.
We are told that Dave Studdard has had his bell rung a little bit. They're holding him out. This is 3rd and 1. Boy, good fill there. Sammy Winder's the ball carrier. The defensive line closed quickly. Curtis Green made the initial hit along with Maxwell.
Maxwell got the shoulder in there, number 57, and really gave him a good shot.
4th and 1, Hank, would you go for it?
I'd go for it. I really would. This position of the field, they're moving the ball very well. They ought to be able to make the first down. If they don't, they've still got good field position, and they got Detroit into soup. I would definitely go for it.
The only thing that could hurt Denver, penalties. Broncos were penalized 10 times for 128 yards last week. Here, been pretty much penalty-free, and the Broncos have moved at will. 7 first downs for the Broncos. Ken Bell comes into the ball game along with Gene Lang, the power backs for the Broncos. Look at this. These are the players that are not starting today that started in the Super Bowl. Billy Bryan, injured reserves. Mark Cooper, he is not starting. Steve Watson and Gerald Wilhite have been injured in the last 3 weeks. Wilhite last week very badly. Tom Jackson, Lewis Wright, Steve Foley, all retired, Hank.
Well, I tell you, the good teams, in spite of the people they lose, in spite of injuries, somehow, some way, use that as a reason to win rather than an excuse to lose.
Surprisingly, Denver in the AFC West is 1.5 games behind surprise division leader San Diego, half game behind Seattle, a team they beat 40-17. Gerald Wilhite's injury, I mentioned, serious. It was also ugly, Hank.
Oh, it was terrible. I get goose pimples every time I see the rerun.
It reminds me of the Joe Theismann injury. But again, we remind you, the Broncos have had 3 major injuries in recent weeks. We talked about Gerald Wilhite. You just saw that. Steve Watson broke his ribs against the Raiders. And Billy Bryan tore knee ligaments against Kansas City.
But this is the kind of a team, I think, Timmy, that regardless who they lose, and they're going to miss Wilhite, but regardless of who they lose, they're going to pick up the slack, and that is not going to make any dramatic difference into whether they win or lose. I really feel that way about the Denver Broncos.
Denver now faced with a 4th and 1 from the 5. Gene Lang, Ken Ball. The setbacks for Denver.
See if they roll out, play action, something on this situation to get the necessary yardage.
Here's the play action, but there's a whistle. The play will not continue. We talked about penalties. We'll wait and see what this one is. Again, it looked like Jerry Ball may have jumped for Detroit.
You know, it's hard for me to understand how, if that was Jerry Ball, I don't know how in the world. Let's see what they say.
Start, center, illegal snap.
Okay, I didn't think, yeah, okay. But Jerry Ball was offside on one occasion early in the ball game. I don't know, in general, I don't know how the guy playing on the nose of the center can be offside. He's right on the ball. I don't know why he would ever be offside.
Hank, I mentioned that Denver could only hurt itself. Denver was penalized again 10 times for 128 yards last week, and that had Dan Reeves very upset. Rich Carlos comes on to attempt the field goal. He has 7 of 8 this year.
And it hurts when you have a chance to make 7 and you have to wind up making 3 or maybe not making the field goal and getting nothing.
27-yard attempt for Rich Carlos. Certainly long enough, straight enough, and it's good. So the Denver Broncos jump on top of the Detroit Lions 10-0, exactly what the Lions did not want to happen. That field goal from 28 yards makes it a 10-0 ball game. He is now 8 of 9 in the field goal department this year for Denver. And deep for the Lions, Butch Wolford and Gary Lee.
It's fun to kick in Denver. All the kickers, watching the kickers yesterday, you couldn't get them off the field. You had to get a big hook, but they wanted to kick so long.
Fun to play golf here in Colorado as well. This kick is high, it is short, and it's taken by Wolford, only 2. Out across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Well, we talked to Chuck Long yesterday and asked him about reading the coverages.
Well, I expect them to do some things that Green Bay didn't do last week. I feel that right now I feel pretty good about reading coverages. Last year was a different situation. I was just trying to get through the playbook. This year I feel, going through a training camp, I feel a lot better. I'm sure Denver's going to do some different things, like I said before. They might blitz me. Green Bay didn't blitz me at all last week, so Denver might, in turn, blitz me this week. We expect a lot of different coverages, what they've shown on film. They're showing a lot of different coverages for the quarterbacks on film, and I expect them to do nothing different this week.
Well, there is something different. An interception. The ball was intended for Rob Rubik. It was intercepted by strong safety Dennis Smith. So here come the Broncos.
When it rains, it pours. When you're having tough times, look at this. He throws a perfect strike. Mecklenburg, number 77, is blitzing on the play. They picked it up perfectly. The ball is thrown beautifully, but it pops out of his hands and into the arms of Dennis Smith. And again, great field position, 1st and 10 for the Denver Broncos.
There is an injured Denver player. While there's time out on the field, we'll take one as well. After his interception, it looked like he just had the wind knocked out of him and then maybe twisted a leg. They're working on the leg now, but he's got his breath back. He goes out. The Denver Bronco offense comes on, and it's 1st and 10 from the 22. Two tight ends, Clarence Kay and Orson Mobley. Elway runs the waggle, throws across the middle, incomplete. It was intended for Clarence Kay. And I mean, Hank, it was drilled. Rafael Cherry was the man covering, but the ball should have been caught.
I think this is a great illustration of what happens when you move the pocket. Now look at this. Everybody is concerned about his throwing from the pocket. He rolls out to the right side. The linebacker's dropping back into the air. Look at all the room he has to throw the ball. All the time in the world. Good vision. Good vision. The ball should have been caught. Hit his shoulder pad and bounced right out of there. But a great illustration how important it is to be able to move the pocket.
Gene Lang comes into the ball game, so it is Lang and Sammy Winder in the backfield on 2nd and 10 from the 22. Elway to throw again. Pressure across the middle, and this one is overthrown. Again, it was intended for Clarence Kay, and he makes a big target, 6'2", 237 pounds.
Jerry Ball that time, the nose man, got good penetration and got a shot on Elway. Jerry Ball, 93.
It'll be 3rd and 10, Hank, from the 22.
Jerry Ball's a load. He reminds me an awful lot of Curly Culp, the great player we had at Kansas City.
He also moves well with that size.
Oh, he does. You got to throw the ball inside here with the coverage the way it is. Something inside between the numbers or the hash marks.
Pressure from the inside. Elway has to scramble. Throws, and it's complete. Knocked out of bounds. Steve Sewell makes the completion down inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. And again, John Elway uses those quick feet and great vision to make the play.
Watch him again. This is what's murder about him. See, you think you got an inside guy coming right up in his face. In spite of that, he escapes the pressure, runs to his left, rights himself, and throws the ball right on the money. Unbelievable to Steve Sewell, number 30. A beautiful play, and he's the guy that makes it happen. We talked about it before the game, but he's the reason they win, and you got to somehow, some way contain him. I don't know how you do that.
In his 5th year out of Stanford, the former #1 draft pick seems to get better every time out. 1st and goal from the 5. Winder to the 2-yard line.
John Ayers, the right guard. The right guard, number 67, got a good block on the linebacker. The right guard, John Sayers, 67.
John Ayers, and then Shelton Robinson made the tackle. So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 2 for Denver, and the Broncos already lead 10-0. We've got 1:35 remaining 1st quarter from Mile High Stadium. Sewell in motion. The give inside. Winder. Touchdown, Denver.
This looks like an instant replay of what happened last week against the Green Bay Packers. The Detroit Lions get off to a bad start, and then they have to play catch-up football, and it's really difficult. Here's a ground level replay. Look at a good surge by the offensive line. A good block on the outside by Lang. The linebacker goes down, and he goes right inside. Barely crosses the plane, but he does. Makes the touchdown, and the Denver Broncos get another 7.
Hank, coming out here to Denver, having watched films and done all the research, I figured, well, this game's not even going to be close. But after talking to the Lions, I started to say, well, maybe they will play well. But thus far, it's been all Denver. Kubiak the holder, Carlos the kicker. And the extra point is good. So the Denver Broncos lead the Detroit Lions 17-0 with 1:25 remaining first quarter.
Bill, Hank.
Yeah, watch the center. Watch the center. Lee on Jerry Ball, number 98 or 93. Look at the block he gets. He gets a good push, and for that reason, Winder is able to go inside of the block and barely go in for the touchdown.
Winder now has 45 yards and a touchdown.
You know, the funny thing about it is, talking to Detroit coaches yesterday, they didn't think that Larry Lee was a good blocker at the point of attack.
Gary Lee takes it out to the 20-yard line. The ball was loose. The Lions get it back. And that could have been devastating. Hank, Denver now has 10 first downs offensively. The Lions have yet to get one. You see the scoring drive took 5 plays, 22 yards, and only 144.
You know, the tough thing about the Detroit Lions is they have 2 outstanding running backs. They've had some trouble with their offensive line, but they like to come into the game with the hope and expectation of running the football. But when you get behind like they do early in the ball game, it's tough to do much running, and as a result, they're forced to throw the ball, and it's really murder.
Well, Chuck Long will have to start throwing now. He went for 362 yards and 3 touchdowns in last week's loss. This is Long. Long hands to Gary James, and he may have gotten a couple before Jim Ryan, number 50, took him down.
One thing they haven't been able to do with the 2 good running backs, they haven't been able to establish any consistency. Both backs, I think Gary James, of course, the first time he played was last week, but Jones, the outstanding player he is, I think they've averaged about 8 carries a game, and James only 4, so you can't establish much of a rhythm offensively and not being able to run more than that.
Jones and James the setbacks on 2nd and 9. Flags fly. The give up in the middle. And while we wait to see what that is, Hank, I was surprised when James Jones told us yesterday when we met with him that there were only 1 or 2 plays in the offense now that he has that are off tackle.
That is very surprising because he is an outstanding running back. And, of course, you know, when you have a guy like James, you have to make a decision. I think with Jones, you're going to take the bus and play ball control football and make first downs and move the change, which is not bad. With James, you're going to take the Concorde and fly over the top and get big plays. So far, they haven't been able to do that. And that's why they're relying on James. They think maybe one time he gets stopped for no gain, but the next time he might go 65. I don't think they think that Jones is capable of making those big plays.
Referee Jerry Seaman tells us that it was Andre Townsend of the Broncos that jumped early that time and was penalized. So it'll be 2nd and 3 from the 27 for Detroit. The give to Gary James. James cuts inside and gets across the 30 to the 31-yard line.
Bob Rubik that time got a good block on the linebacker and gave him some running room inside.
Carl Mecklenburg made the tackle, and we are at the end of the first quarter here at Mile High Stadium, where it has been all Denver to this point. The Broncos lead the Lions 17-0. From Mile High Stadium, and Hank, we talked about the turmoil, the controversy this past week with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, it's having an effect.
Yeah, it does. You know, I really thought they'd play a very emotional game, and I haven't seen any emotion so far at all. None whatsoever. And it looks like, you know, when bad things happen to you, if you're not careful, they say, uh-oh, here we go again, and they go right back into that same shell and create a problem for themselves. The game's a long way from being over. Let's hope they can come back and do something.
It is 1st and 10 from the 31 for Detroit. And the Lions have just gotten their first down of the ball game. Chuck Long throws it away. The Broncos wanted a flag. Rulon Jones was the man applying the pressure, and Rulon Jones prefers his first name pronounced Rulon. Sometimes you hear it Rulon Jones, but he said it's Rulon.
But I just think quarterbacks care what you call them. I just want they want to make sure that somebody blocks him. He wasn't blocked that time, and we said earlier, to move the ball against this team, you got to block Jones, you got to block Hundley, 98, and also Mecklenburg, number 77. Those 3 guys are murdered.
2nd and 10 from the 31. James and Jones in the backfield for Detroit. Gary James, right side, gets a little bit of a block. Carries it up to the 37-yard line, and Dennis Smith, back in the ball game now, makes the tackle.
And James Jones, boy, what a great block he made on a linebacker. It looked like a linebacker going through the hole, number 30.
Gary James, now in his second year out of LSU. He's 5'10", 214 pounds. Had only 12 carries coming into this game for 29 yards. Hank, that's hard to figure.
No, it really is. And I think he's the kind of a back that really has to carry the ball anywhere from 22 to 25, 27 times a game. Because I think it takes the great backs anywhere from 10 to 12 plays. They just get in a rhythm and a flow of the game.
6 defensive backs for the Broncos. It's 3rd and 3. Chuck Long, 3-step drop, now in trouble. First sack of the year for Carl Mecklenburg. He's out to prove something.
They're all trying to prove something, but Mecklenburg, and he comes from a great variety of places. This time he comes from the right side, gets inside the block, and gets the penetration, gets the sack, number 77. He'll play right in, right linebacker, right tackle, left tackle. He plays any one of the 7 positions in the defensive categories.
Look at this, Hank. The lack of sacks. Roland Jones and Mecklenburg, who have been dominant in years past. They have struggled that. In fact, their first sack. Ricky Nattiel is deep. And this punt will take him inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. And he'll return it. Out to the 32-yard line goes Ricky Nattiel. Eric Sanders made the tackle for Detroit. We've got 14 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Denver leading 17-0. It's been all Broncos. Jim Arnold's 55-yard punt backed up the Denver Broncos. A 14-yard return. It's 1st and 10 on the 31, and Denver leads Detroit 17-0. Boy, Hank, this team does not look out of sync to me. The Broncos look strong.
Well, again, you know, Elway is such an artist playing that quarterback position. He just drives you crazy.
Elway, 3-step drop, fires, complete. Incomplete. Mark Jackson was the intended receiver. I was giving it to him before he caught it, but it came off his shoulder pads.
Yeah, it looked too easy. It looked too easy. He was so open, and I don't think he looked the ball into his hands for that reason. Went right through the hands, hit the shoulder pads, and bounced right out. You know, the other thing about Elway, he gets rid of the ball so quickly. It's amazing how quickly he gets rid of the ball. He throws the ball like a catcher.
I was thinking like a defensive back. I saw the ball coming. He was wide open. The ball hit him in the chest. I gave him the completion.
Yep.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 31. Elway again with plenty of time. Incomplete. He bounced that one in. Right now, let's go back to New York. Brent Musburger has an update on the AFC Central.
Well, Tim, Houston trailed by 15 early in the 4th. They came all the way back to beat Cincinnati. They could wind up all alone in first, depending on what happens in the San Diego game. San Diego leads Cleveland 14-7. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brandon, and San Diego, of course, sitting up top, game and a half. Surprise division leader.
I tell you, if they
game and a half over Denver, I should say.
If Detroit doesn't start getting some rush on that quarterback, they'll wear out some footballs out here today.
Elway with all the time he wants to throw and has another completion, this time to Ricky Nattiel. The ball is marked on the 49-yard line.
And here again, moving the pocket. Look at him. He steps up, and then he rolls right. Bishop, number 54, is pulling. It's a play by design. All the time in the world. Gets rid of the ball in good shape. And it looks like they've got number 95. He's playing the kind of a cop on the defensive scheme of things, trying to keep him, George Jameson, to make sure he's a cop and give Elway a ticket anytime he escapes from that pocket, but he hasn't been able to do anything with it yet.
Looks like they all have a ticket. This is Winder, and he's down inside Detroit territory to the 43-yard line before Shelton Robinson can finally stop him. Right now, Detroit has been non-existent. Look at these scores from yesterday. Florida State, big over Tulane, and Auburn over Florida. John Elway having a hot year. Don't forget, coming up next Saturday, college football continues on CBS Sports. 4th-ranked Florida State, 7-1, and they go against the Auburn Tigers.
I saw them the other day, and they are impressive. Talking about Florida State.
And it's another first down for Denver. Sammy Winder picks it up. Keith Ferguson makes the tackle. Sammy Smith, Jeff Berger, what a game he had last night, Hank, for Auburn.
Oh, he really did, didn't he? Terrific.
Two of the guys you'll see next Saturday on college football as it continues here on CBS Sports.
You know, the way Denver's moving the ball looks like a bag drill. They're just going up and down the field. They're doing anything they want to do. They throw the ball. They run the ball. That last time was a counter play with great success.
First and 10 from the 37. Winder and Sewell now in the ball game for Denver. Sammy Winder picks his hole inside the 35 to the 33-yard line.
That time Ayers, number 67, the right guard, got out in front in good shape, along with the right tackle, Ken Lanier. But they're having great success with that play, a counter play, taking a step to the right, going back to the left side. It looks like they have a design to go to their left, and they're running it very successfully.
Sammy Winder working hard here. Has led Denver in rushing the last 5 years. Two-time Pro Bowler. 2nd and 5 from the 32. Mobley in the motion. Elway looks deep. Now throws over the middle again. It's incomplete. It was intended for Clarence Kay, and the tight end's having a tough time holding on to the football, Hank.
That time they faked it. If we could possibly see Gay on the play, they pulled the left guard and the left tackle, the right guard, and the defense responded to the pulling people. He ran outside, and Gay, watch Gay, number 79 now. Look at him on the right side of your picture. He's way in the middle of the formation, and here Elway is way out to the left side, but he was going way inside because of the tackle and the guard pull. A great-looking play, except they dropped the football.
3rd and 5 from the 32. The Broncos have scored on their first 3 possessions. Elway, the quick out pattern, incomplete. It was intended for Gene Lang.
Gene Lang seemed like he was going to be satisfied to catch the ball and lay down. He should have been able to catch the ball in stride and continue to run with it. Instead, he just dropped the football in the process of trying to lay down.
Lang, an 11th round draft pick in 1984, now in his 4th year out of LSU. Rich Carlos comes on 4th and 5 to attempt the field goal. This will be a 50-yard attempt for Carlos.
It looks like they could fake the field goal and get a big play. Everybody's up on the line of scrimmage.
It's long enough, but it's wide to the right, so it is no good. And for the first time, the Detroit Lions have stopped the Denver Broncos this afternoon. The score remains Denver 17, Detroit nothing. The shadow of the Rockies, and the Denver Broncos lead the Detroit Lions 17-0 with 11:06 remaining in the first half. The Broncos 186 total yards offense. The Lions 7 total offense. The Lions have 1 turnover.
Here we see Larry Lee, the center, number 68, doing a good job of blocking at the point of attack, and John Elway going in for the touchdown. Here's a second touchdown. Here you see Winder going right inside and just crossing the plane, making a touchdown.
And, of course, in between those 2 touchdowns of Elway and Sammy Winder, Rich Carlos hit a 28-yard field goal, and that's where we are, 17-0. And, Hank, did you expect this?
You know, very frankly, it's easy to say this with the game going like it is. We were afraid that this might happen. We were hoping it wouldn't happen, and it's a long way from being over. But I'm disappointed in the way the Lions are playing. It just doesn't seem like they have any animation, any enthusiasm, any spark. And that's the one thing I thought they would have today.
How about this, Coach? For Denver, 115 yards passing. For Detroit, 0.
Yeah, and they've only rushed for 17 yards, and the one thing they felt they had to do to win the game today was to be able to establish some kind of balance between the run and the pass. They haven't been able to do anything so far.
I can't say it's really a surprise. The Lions were burned for 323 yards last week by Green Bay's Don Majkowski. And now John Elway comes in here today, and he has the hot hand. So the Lions have had problems. On 1st and 10, long throws, and it's complete. Pickup of 7. James Jones carries it out to the 42-yard line. They'll mark it. Carl Mecklenburg runs him out there.
Now, people watching the game, they say, now why in the world are they running the football when they're down like they are? The reason being, of course, that they have to keep some pressure off of the quarterback. They have to slow down the rush, and I think they have to incorporate the run, the draws, the traps, and the screens so they don't get murdered going back in the pocket, throwing the ball all the time. They have to do something to slow down the rush, and really, they're only 3 games away from being out of the game.
Well, that was an effective play-action pass by Long. This is now 2nd and 1, first down for the Lions. They take Get out to the 47-yard line. James Jones, the ball carrier. Most of you will see one of the league's greatest rivalries next week. The Bears go to Lambeau Field to battle the Packers. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern time with the NFL Today. And those of you in the Detroit area will see the Dallas Cowboys battle the Detroit Lions. That starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a change now. That time is 4 o'clock. From the 47-yard line now, 1st and 10 Detroit. Look at that. Denver 12 first downs. The Lions 2. Long throws, has a man. It's complete. Pete Manley, his first catch of the day. And he'll be up close to another Detroit first down, about a yard short.
That was a play action fake that time, a play action pass. Good protection. And I think this young quarterback, Chuck Long, is going to be really one of the bright young quarterbacks in the National Football League. I really think he's going to be. He's got all the qualities. And I'm impressed with his poise and his confidence in talking to the Denver coaches. They say, you know, usually you like to blitz a young quarterback, but this guy's got so much poise that we don't know whether we can afford to blitz it. Doesn't affect him very much.
He was the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy race, Bo Jackson in 1985. Scott Williams makes his first appearance and picks up a first down for Detroit. So now the Lions do start to move, Hank.
That's the thing they have to do. They have to get some confidence in their running game, and they can't abandon the plan this early in the game. Losing 17-0, it's got to be discouraging, but it's a far from being over at this point of the game.
Well, they got down early last week, though, 24 points to Green Bay, and came back, had a chance to win the game. Lost 34-33. They went after a 45-yard field goal at the end and missed it. So they can come back. Bill Rogers was calm yesterday. He doesn't look so calm right now. 1st and 10 from the 40. Gary James, right side again, picks up good yardage. And again, it's Carl Mecklenburg who makes the tackle.
Harvey Salem, the right guard that time, made a great block.
Gary James shaken up on the play, Hank. On his own off the field. Hey, this is starting to look like the Denver team of old. Let's go back to the AFC Championship game. John Elway takes the Broncos 98 yards in 15 plays and caps the drive with his 5-yard pass to Mark Jackson with 37 seconds left in regulation to tie the game at 20. In overtime, Rich Karlis kicked his 33-yard field goal, which looked wide but hooked just inside the goalpost to send the Broncos to their 2nd Super Bowl. Here it is 2nd and 3 from the 33. Carl Bernard into the ballgame now for Gary James, and he may have lost a yard.
Kevin Glover, number 53, the center, came out that time and got a good block on the outside linebacker. He looks like he's got a lot of action, a lot of good movement.
It'll be 3rd and 2 from the 32. We've got 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the half. Denver leads 17-0. Long count, Manley in motion. They try to go to Manley. He slips. Now they go back to the right side. It'll be close to the first down. The catch made by Carl Bland. The mark does give him the first down. The crowd here at Mile High doesn't like it. Dennis Smith made the tackle.
I have to make a correction, too, Timmy. Glover is playing guard, not center, but they got him listed as a center, but he's playing right guard.
Well, Glover played center at the University of Maryland, and boy, do they like him, Hank.
And looking at him, he got another good block on that last play on pass protection.
The update on Gary James is he's hurt his elbow, possibly a hyperextended elbow, and he may return. Carl Bernard has come in and taken his place. And with the mark that the Detroit Lions got, it is a first down.
They're showing more energy here, Tim, and doing a good job of mixing up the pass and the run.
No question, but the fact this team proved it could come back after last week.
I think maybe the coaches before the game ought to tell them, listen, you're losing already 21-0, and maybe that might motivate them, and they might play better. That's a new approach.
Give them the halftime talk before the game.
That's right.
Carl Bernard, James Jones at the backs. Play action. Chuck Long with time throws it away. Oh, that time ran out quickly. He had time, then things closed down. It was intended for Jeff Chadwick. Tim Brandt and Hank Stram at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Denver jumped out to a 17-0 lead. We now have 7 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the half, and Detroit showing life for the first time this afternoon. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 29-yard line. John Elway scored first for Denver on a 3-yard touchdown run. Rich Carlos added a 28-yard field goal, and Sammy Winder scored from 2 yards out, and that's where we are, 17-0. And they're going to take Gary James into the locker room. 6 defensive backs for Denver. Chuck Long throws it across the middle, and it is complete to Carl Bernard. Randy Robbins makes the tackle.
You know, Long is an incredible, he has an incredible stat, Timmy. You know, on first down so far this season, on first down, he's 60.4% completion. And on later downs, he's 68.7. It's incredible because normally you have a good passing percentage on 1st and 10, and it drops dramatically on 2nd and 3rd down. This kid has just been incredible in the games he's played so far this season.
We're told that Scott Williams has been taken into the locker room. He has a shoulder injury. You saw Gary James leaving the field. He has a bad elbow. So it is a physical game, and it's starting to take its toll.
You know, sometimes from a psychological standpoint, too, this has a bearing often in a game like this. You know, the Denver Broncos, they start off like a bang, like gangbusters, and they think it's going to be easy. And they let up a little bit sometimes, and sometimes they wind up scratching their head trying to figure out what happened. They let the other team get back in the ball game.
Lions are impressive inside the 20. This ball is loose. The Broncos have it. Carl Mecklenburg got it.
Boy, that's murder. When you have a bad exchange in professional football between the quarterback and the center, like Mecklenburg, number 77. Look at him get the penetration. The ball is loose very decisively, and he pounces on the football, and the Denver Broncos have possession on the 20.
He is decisive. No false steps, saw the loose ball immediately, went right after it. 1st and 10 from the 21, Hank.
He almost squeezed the air out of the ball.
He can do it. Elway, Winder. Boy, and he's met rudely. Looked like Jerry Ball made the contact. Boy, and he really tagged him, too. Sammy Winder, 65 yards today. Keep in mind, he needs 133 today to go over the 4,000-yard mark for his career. It'll be 2nd and 8. Winder comes out. Sewell comes into the ball game for the Broncos.
You know, the other great thing about it, Timmy, from Denver's standpoint, they've been able to do everything extremely well. Whenever they want to run, they run. They pass, they pass. They've really stopped themselves a couple of times because they dropped some passes. But what they're trying to do has been excellent.
Vance Johnson, Ricky Nattiel, the wide outs for Elway. 2nd and 9. Inside pressure, Elway to the 27-yard line and slides down there. Ernie Maxwell tagged him.
Watch the pass protection here. Look at Ball on the center. Linebacker Williams blitzing on the play. He's back in the pocket. Back in the pocket. Good blocking at the point of attack. There's Bishop. There's how he got away from the would-be tackler is incredible. The would-be tackler, evidently, William Gay, had to close his eyes. I don't know how else he could have missed it.
9-yard pickup for Elway. He now needs just 9 more, and he'll have to be over 1,000 for his career. Flags fly. Ball is loose. Look at the athletic ability of Elway to knock that one away. Reggie Rogers applied the pressure for the Lions. Got a hand on the ball, and Elway batted it away himself.
Here we see it again. Look at the pressure inside. Linebacker blitzing. Number 57 throws the ball, and Reggie Rogers leaps up into the air, knocks the ball down. A great play, great athletic play by Reggie Rogers.
Then did you see Elway knock it away
Yes.
to keep it from being an interception?
Very alert. He's always aware of what's happening.
holding against Denver will bring up 4th down and 3. So Pete Manley now will go back to field his first punt. Mike Moran will punt it for Denver.
I think you got to try to block a kick and do something to make something happen, get good field position. I'm talking about Detroit. Let's see if they go after the kicker this time. They might make him kick a bad one or something, but at least they have to try to make something happen with their specialty teams and their defense to get better field position.
Manley is the only player in the NFC, Hank, who has returned a punt for a touchdown in both of the last 2 seasons. He'll get a chance here. He'll take it back out to the 35-yard line, and that's where they'll down it. Keith Bishop, number 54, came down to make the tackle. 48-yard punt, 10-yard return by Manley. We've got 4 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the half, and Denver leads 17-0, Hank.
Interesting talking to Manley. He said when he's back there to catch a punt, he listens for Eddie Murray on the sideline to tell him whether he should catch it or not. Unbelievable. Eddie Murray on the sideline, and he's watching very intently for Manley, and he tells him, go, 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 and that tells Manley to catch the ball and run. Unusual. Never saw that before. Lynn Barney, who was a great returner for Detroit Lions, he heard it and said he couldn't believe it. He said, I didn't depend on anybody to tell me where to go. Manley calls the guys coming down to make the tackle. He calls them the Hawks.
On 1st down, Long to throw, looks, has a man, and it is complete out to the 45-yard line. Jimmy Giles, his tight end, brings it in. You know what surprises me is that he listens to Murray, and Murray yells no or go.
That could be very confusing.
When you've got 76,000 fans screaming as that punch comes down, and the 2 outside Hawks, they call them, coming down and applying the pressure. Boy, how do you distinguish between no and go?
It's awful tough. That's why in punt returns, you never said no or go. You always said you, me, so it's very understandable. This is very confusing.
I've got it. You take it. The old touch football. James back in the ball game now. His injury evidently not serious. He may have lost a yard, and there is a flag on the play. Walt Boyer came across and made the tackle. Big number 65 out of Arizona State, 3rd-year pro. He's 6'4", 252 pounds.
You know, one thing is you look at the Denver Bronco defense, it looks like on almost every play or every other play, somebody breaks clean, gets penetration, which means that the offensive line and backs are not doing the kind of a job they should do.
Neutral zone defense, still 1st down.
Jerry Seaman, the referee, almost looked like he was smiling when he made that call.
He looks like that all the time. He's always a very happy personality.
So it'll be 1st and 5. The ball at midfield.
You got to be impressed with Chuck Long. He's really got a lot of confidence and a lot of poise.
Long looks, has a man wide open. It's James. To the 35, runs out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Gary James, run out by Tony Lilly.
Was he open in the flat? It looked like he ran off the bench or out of the bleachers. He was that open, and again, Chuck Long with good vision spotted him quickly. And the great thing about him is when he sees it, he gets rid of the ball very quickly. He did on that last play.
21-yard pickup for the Lions, and Hank, Detroit has moved the ball effectively. The last 2 times it's had the ball, it's hurt itself with penalties and with turnovers.
Exactly right, and it looks like Denver is kind of sleepwalking a little bit.
We've got 3:25 remaining in the half. Denver leads 17-0. 1st and 10. Detroit at the 29. Play action. Flags fly, and again it's a completion. This time to James Jones. We'll have to wait to see what the penalty is. And the way the Lions are reacting against Denver, it is.
You know, one thing I think is very important when you play against the Denver Broncos, you got to make sure you know where Mecklenburg is, number 77, Jones, number 75 is, and you want to make sure that you try to do as much business.
Number 65 defense, lined up in the neutral zone, still 1st down.
As much business as you possibly can against those, away from those 2 people. To make sure that you run away from and throw away from those 2 people because they are terrific players and get great penetration.
Hank, if Detroit scores here, makes it 17-7 with time left in the 1st half. They're back in it.
Well, certainly, and again, you got to realize they're only 3 plays from being out of the game.
1st and 5. Long with a lot of pressure. Is it intercepted? No.
Out of bounds.
Ricky Hundley read it. Went in front of the intended receiver, Gary James, but did not get both feet in and stepped out of bounds. Boy, but he played it perfectly.
Hundley is unbelievable, as big and as strong, and look, he's out there in the flat making an interception. Look at that, a one-handed interception, but he does not get both feet in bounds. He has possession, but both feet are not in bounds, and that's why they call it an incompleted forward pass.
Boy, Hundley's active. Watching him in films, he is all over the field. 2nd and 5 from the 24.
Blitzing on the play, and they pick up the blitz.
Long fires, incomplete.
They had linebackers coming that time, and the lineman did a good job of picking up the blitz.
It was intended, Hank, for Pete Manley. How about that defense by Harden?
Watch the linebackers coming. Watch Mecklenburg, 77, coming in here. They knock him down. He throws right over the top to Manley. Had the ball been thrown a little bit lower at the numbers, he might have been able to complete the ball. The defensive back did a great job, Mike Harden, of coming over the top and knocking the ball down.
Chuck Long now getting into the ball game with rhythm. He doesn't like what he sees. The ball snapped. Time was called. Whoa, my.
That would have been a first. Snap the ball to the mystery guy back there who isn't there, the ghost quarterback, and the guy pick it up, run for a touchdown. We've never seen that play. That would have been a first.
I'll tell you what, it would have been a touchdown for Denver, because you're right, there was not a soul back there but orange jerseys. Right across the street, McNichols Arena, home of the Nuggets. And coming up next week on CBS, the NBA Crown, a special preview of the NBA's 42nd season. That'll be at 2 o'clock Eastern time. The quest for the NBA. Who do you like, Hank?
Well, I like the Lakers. I really do. They've got too much talent. You talk about, you know, they're great stars.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, they talk about Johnson an awful lot and Kareem, but they've got a lot of great players on that team, and they're capable of coming back and winning it all again, I guarantee.
I was watching Magic this week. He's been having troubles with that Achilles tendon again. Problem he's had the last 2 years, but he went to camp and it was bothering him more than usual, and they said, hey, let's not fool with it. Let's get you back and get you in the pool and get you on the bike, and let's get that thing healthy and ready to roll. It's going to be a long season.
That's the key. You know, they play so many games that they can't take a chance this early in the season of having a permanent injury to a great player like Magic. So it's good thinking for them to give him as much rest as they possibly can give him, so he's ready to go when the time comes.
Well, we're going to see if the Detroit Lions are ready to go when the time comes. 2 minutes, 46 seconds remain in the half here at Mile High Stadium. Detroit trails Denver 17-0. They have the ball 3rd and 5 at the 23-yard line. And now they mark it at the 24, so they may have lost a yard on the mark.
Yeah. They've got to make something happen, and they're on the move.
Six defensive backs for the Broncos. Trouble. Ball's loose. Incomplete. Rick Dennison came through. Number 55, and he was joined back there.
Steve Wilson, 45, blitzed also on the play, and he really got penetration and got the quarterback.
I was going to say he was joined by Wilson on the blitz, and Wilson, coming into this ball game, Detroit thought that was the guy they could pick on.
That's right, and of course it's hard to pick on him when he's blitzing. And the way the ball flew up in the air, I thought Long might have to signal for a fair catch.
Eddie Murray to attempt a 42-yard field goal to get Detroit on the board. It's low, and it's no good. Off to the right. It was a low line drive. It had just enough distance, but it was off to the right.
You know, talking about Eddie Murray, the great kicker he's been, you know, he's really only made one of his last 5 field goals. And Murray was 0 for 3 in the other game on surface, on grass. He does not kick nearly as well on grass as he does on synthetic turf.
Hank, the Lions had a 45-yard field goal attempt to win the game against Green Bay last week and missed it.
Yes, right.
Look at these, the most accurate kickers that are active. The Andersons, Lowry, Eddie Murray's right up there. 1st and 10 from the 24. Pressure. They run the screen. This is Winder. Gets a block, and he's out to the 31. There's a flag, and it may be holding against Keith Bishop, the guard. We'll wait and see. An illegal block. They threw the flag in the direction of big number 54.
I think you're right.
No infraction on the play. The block was from the side. Second down.
He picked the flag up, put it in his pocket. It was from the side, not the back. No penalty.
And Elway acted the play extremely well. The quarterback has to be a very good actor on screens. He got back there, looked like it was going to be a pass, and dumped it off. Beautiful.
All right, let's take you back to your coaching days. They throw a flag, and then they pick it up and look at you and say, no, that wasn't a penalty. What do you say?
If it's in our favor, I think it's great.
2nd and 3 from the 31. Winder to the 35 and bowls his way to the 36-yard line. And we have arrived at the 2-minute warning. Gibson and Rogers made the tackle. It's still 17-0 Denver. 17-0 Denver leads here, and Hank, Detroit has not done that much well. They have moved the ball effectively the last 2 possessions. What do you tell them at halftime?
Well, I think you have to do something to shock your team. You know, I never forget we played here in a Monday night game of '74, and we played the same way in the first half. And I was very disturbed because we had won 9 out of 10 Monday night games, and I just told them very politely, I said, listen, you know, I don't want any imposters playing in the second half. No imposters, and the guys, and after I look at the film and I find out you don't play like you're supposed to play, you're going to play the game for nothing. Understand that? For nothing. We went on to win the game 42-34.
1st and 10, they run the middle screen. Gene Lang with a nice move. Across midfield, looking for a block to the 35 before he's knocked out of bounds there by Rafael Cherry. And Ricky Natile had a block that sprung him.
Ricky Natile made an incredible block out by the sideline. You don't see receivers making those kind of blocks very often, but this is a gem. And here again, a good job of blocking, gets good rush up the middle, sets it up perfectly. Watch over here in the sideline. Watch this block. Watch Natile. There it is. A beautiful shot on Ricky Smith.
Take another look from this angle, Hank.
Look at this on Ricky Smith. Watch this block. Beautiful. Head in front and really knocks him right, drives him right into the ground.
He had to get up and straighten his Rydell. Didn't know if it was on correctly.
He thought that somebody made a telephone call. He had a telephone in his helmet.
29-yard pickup thanks to that guy, Ricky Natile. Oh, what a block.
Nice. And I say, you know, you don't get outside very often, Timmy. You don't get outside very often with a run or the pass unless the outside receivers can block for you. That was a great illustration of why that play went. He made a fantastic block. Ricky
Natile, Denver's first-round draft pick last spring. He runs a 4.35 40. Big play receiver out of Florida, and he showed us something on that play.
And the Denver Broncos now have to show themselves something here and get points on the scoreboard, preferably 7. They've stopped themselves on a couple of occasions and have provided the Lions with the opportunity to get back in this ball game. Fortunately for Denver, the Lions have stopped themselves too and made mistakes, but they have to get a touchdown here or some points.
All right, that's what Denver has to do. Now let's go to the other side of the line of scrimmage. I would assume, Hank, that Detroit now badly has to shut things down here. They can't afford to give up more points to Denver.
You're right, but they haven't been able to do that all afternoon, and that's going to be quite a chore and quite a responsibility.
Well, Ricky Smith is just now getting up from that block by Ricky Natile, and they're helping him off across the field. Boy, Washington looks strong. You know, that's a club where the strike really helped them.
Well, going into the season, everybody talked so much about the Giants and the Chicago Bears, and nobody mentioned Ricky Smith going off the field. I'm glad to see he's walking as well as he is, because that was a savage hit. It looked like Tyson hit it.
Coming up at halftime, don't forget the NFL Today with Brent and Irv, with all the scores and highlights from around the league today. Here at Mile High Stadium, it's 1st and 10 from the 35 for Denver.
Look at the middle. Look at the middle of that deep. Oh, he's rolling out.
Things close down, and he throws it away. Threw it in the direction of Natile and just got rid of it because there was an awful lot of pressure coming from big number 77, Keith Ferguson.
And, you know, lane, Gene Lang, I should say, number 33, was wide open on the other side of the field. Wasn't a soul around him when he started the move. Normally, Elway sees that very, very well. He didn't that time. Had he seen it, it would have been a touchdown.
We were talking about the Redskins. Now, the Redskins were banged up before the strike. They lost by a point to Atlanta. The replacements come in, win 3 straight games. The Redskins get healthy during that time off, and here they are now just rolling.
4-man rush. In the middle, if you're going to throw from the pocket, should be a vulnerable area.
2nd and 10. Elway, wide open. Johnson, touchdown. Touchdown, Denver. Vance Johnson. 35-yard touchdown.
Now, there again, Kenny, had he thrown the ball from the pocket, the middle was open. As he started to run, the defense came up, which provided the receiver to be wide open on the outside, Vance Johnson, and he had enough presence, delivers the ball, touchdown Denver. I tell you, Elway is really unbelievable.
Rich Carlos comes on to attempt the extra point. He has yet to miss this year. He's still perfect. And the Broncos are nearly perfect. Oh, how did he get so open?
Well, watch what happens now. Watch Vance Johnson, number 82, on the outside of your screen. He's covered well, but we'll see the defensive back lets him go when he sees the scramble by John Elway. And as a result, he's wide open. The deep back now has to come over to try to pick him up. He overruns the play. He runs into the end zone. A couple of missed tackles, but he goes into the end zone and makes the touchdown. But that's what happens. That's what happens to the defense when you have a quarterback who can move like Elway.
Vance Johnson, the 1982 NCAA long jump champion.
Here we see it again. Pressure inside. Gay is pushed beyond the quarterback. Look, he runs left. They drop the coverage. He's wide open on the outside. Cherry overruns the play, number 45, and he cuts back inside and goes in for the touchdown.
When we get a chance, we're going to talk about Elway's passing motion. That thing's like a coiled spring up on his shoulder.
Well, it is, and as I mentioned earlier, he throws the ball like a big league catcher, right from the ear, and gets rid of it very quickly.
He was drafted by the Kansas City Royals out of high school, batted .491 as a prep star. Did you know Elway, Dan Marino, and Jay Schrader all were drafted ahead of Don Mattingly?
I didn't know that until they told us that yesterday. That was a surprise.
Gary Lee for the Detroit Lions to the 15 to the 17-yard line, and he's taken down by a very emotional special teams for the Denver Broncos.
You know, the crowd here hasn't gotten into the game as nearly as much as they usually do. Obviously, because they went ahead so quickly, they're getting more involved in the game, and I think that's very important for the Denver Broncos to maintain a high level of the emotional aspect of the game.
Well, the fans have to get back in sync like the players. It's been 6 weeks since the regulars have played here at Mile High Stadium.
And if you're not careful, it looks like a parlor game.
James Jones and Carl Bernard come into the ball game. The setbacks here in shotgun formation. 1st and 10 on the 18. The long. They give inside to James Jones to the 21-yard line. That's where Steve Wilson makes the tackle. See the time there. This is in the first half. We've got 1:10 remaining.
And Mecklenburg is all over the place. Now he's playing defensive right end.
2nd and 7 for Long. Intercepted, almost dropped. Randy Robbins, number 48, again had the ball in his hands. I think he was reading headlines before he caught the football.
Yeah, he was looking at the end zone, thinking he was going to change the scoreboard and drop the football. Randy Robbins, number 48.
It was intended for Carl Bernard, but oh, watch how Robbins just steps in. How did he miss it?
I don't know how he missed it, except he had to take his eye off the ball. Look at, throws the ball right over the top. Good anticipation. The ball is thrown a little bit behind the receiver, and for that reason, he had a chance to make this interception. Just dropped it. That's all. Just dropped it.
3rd and 6. Chuck Long goes deep. And a flag flies. Carl Bland, number 80, was the receiver. Steve Wilson, the cornerback, was defending, and there's a flag, and it's going to be against Wilson. We'll wait for the call, but Wilson doesn't like it.
one thing they did, they got the matchup they wanted. They want to work on Wilson going into the game. I personally thought he made a great play. Let's see it on the replay.
Well, obviously there's a discussion, and the officials have picked up one flag this afternoon and corrected themselves.
Pass interference, number 45 defense. First down.
That's Wilson.
You know, really, I thought he got his hand up there just in time. We'll see it on the replay here in just a second. Steve Wilson, number 45. When he gets his hand up, I don't know whether he bumped. He must have got a shoulder into the receiver, Bland, but it looked like his timing of the hand coming up was perfect.
Look at this. They look like they're joined at the hip, but he's going for the football.
Yes, he is. To me, it looks like a bad call.
1st and 10 from the 49. Long has another completion. Butch Wolfhook takes it at the 41-yard line, and we've got 42 seconds remaining in the half.
I'm going to tell you something. That Long is really, really something as a young quarterback. Really, he's a rookie. He didn't go to training camp last year, so he's just a rookie. But I just can't believe how poised and confident he is back there in the pocket.
He started only 5 games. And this time he's sacked at the 48-yard line. Rulon Jones, Michael Brooks.
But every time there's a big play that's either Jones or it's Mecklenburg. And Rogers has to be very disappointed on the sideline.
As does Long with 26 seconds remaining in the half. I see 26 seconds remaining in the half. 24-0 Denver. Is the game over?
Well, I think, you know, as far as who wins or loses the game, I think really that it's going to be very, very difficult the way they're playing for the Detroit Lions to come back and win this game. Now, a lot is going to be contingent on what happens at halftime. They have to come out smoking in the second half. If they can do that, then I think they've got a chance to come back in the ball game. But they're going to have to do something very, very dramatic at the beginning of the third quarter.
Controversy, turmoil this week with the Detroit Lions has been well documented. This club is 1-5. There has been talk that Darryl Rogers, the head coach, is in trouble, and it looks now like that is all taking effect on this Lion ball club. 3rd and 12 from the 49. And again, it is complete to Butch Wolfhook. He takes it up to the 42-yard line. Randy Robbins runs him out of bounds. So it'll be 4th down and a long 3. Do you go for it here?
Oh, sure, you have to go for it.
20 seconds remain in the half.
Have to go for it when you're down by 24. You have to try to make something happen and give your team something to hang their head on at halftime if that's possible.
6 defensive backs now for Denver. Long has a man wide open. It's Wolfhook, and he goes out at the 31-yard line, close to the 30. That's where Randy Robbins takes him out. We've got 14 seconds remaining, and it's a 1st down for Detroit. Darryl Rogers yelling out to his quarterback, calling the play. Chuck Long says that he likes to call the plays, likes to audibilize in the 2-minute offense, in the hurry-up offense. But he says if there is time, he will look to the sidelines to get help.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to rely on the sideline in 2-minute offense. You have to have control of the situation.
Long with pressure up the middle. Incomplete.
And Denver is doing a good thing. They're trying to make sure that they don't catch anything outside to stop the clock. They're trying to keep everything inside the sidelines, so that takes up an awful lot of time. Now there's 9 seconds left in the first half.
Rulon Jones came through and applied the pressure and got a pretty good lick on Long after the ball was released. It was intended for Jeff Chadwick. 9 seconds left now, Hank, in the half. Denver stays with its dime defense. 6 defensive backs. Chuck Long goes deep. Manley has a step and can't hold on.
I tell you, he threw the ball. You can't throw it any better than that.
Boy, Manley had Plummer beaten too.
Yes, he did. He had it. The ball was, boy, the ball was thrown beautiful. Look at this. Got plenty of time to throw the ball. Steps, throws it downfield over the top of the defensive back. Manley jumps up and has the ball and should have made the catch, just dropped it on the way down. A beautiful throw by Chuck Long.
Manley, a fourth-year pro out of Northern Arizona, a number 2 pick in 1984, came into this game with 20 receptions, third among NFC receivers. 47-yard field goal attempt by Eddie Murray, and it is no good. And so, as the half comes to an end, Detroit squanders another opportunity, and Denver still leads 24-0.